Hello and welcome back to the football rundown. Stockport County 0, Salford City 0 in League 2. It's a massively disappointing result really for Stockport County, who would have been looking to bounce back after the defeat to Newport County on Saturday. Of course, at home, it's a local derby, I suppose. Stockport County are expecting to win this kind of game. You know, Salford have had a bad start to the season. Of course, we faced them in the playoff semi-final last season, but they've had a bad start to League 2 this season. They found themselves around 15th going into this game, and Stockport County would be expected to beat Salford. It doesn't matter how bad the injury crisis is at the club at the moment, and of course it is getting worse for Stockport County. There's no excuses, in my opinion, for drawing this game 0-0, especially with, given the amount of chances created in the game as well. I think really Stockport County probably did let Salford off with a lot of them, because if Stockport County could have found the back of the net tonight, they would have had quite a scoreline against Salford, because the chances were there to be created, and particularly in the first half as well. Stockport County created so many opportunities. It didn't matter whether or not it's from the left hand side, the right hand side. The ball was constantly being played into the middle, and of course County just weren't taking the chances. So ultimately we've drawn the game, and it feels like a loss. And we've drawn the game because we haven't taken our chances. It's down to poor finishing. We're struggling now. Obviously, Louis Barry's been injured for some time, and obviously we've managed to continue the winning run without him. But I think in this kind of game today, a player like him, who was a class above most players in League 2, I think we win the game with that, with that kind of quality on the pitch. And I think today we're seeing Tanto Alafi, and he looks like Tanto Alafi from maybe last season, maybe not the Tanto Alafi we've had, for the majority of this season so far, where he's looked absolutely unbeatable. Cal Wotton wasn't as sharp as he's looked over the last few weeks. He was very, very quiet tonight. Paddy Madden was looking good, but in a more creative role, as opposed to finding the back of the net. I thought Nick Powell, who started the game as well, due to the injury crisis going on at the club at the moment, I thought Nick Powell came in and did really well. Unfortunately, he had to come off. That might be injury related as well. So we've just got to wait and see the outcome of that. But I thought, Stockport County did really well throughout the game, created a lot of opportunities and just couldn't take them. For me, there was an argument on the official man of the match. I think it went towards Macaulay Salvan-Hales. I don't think he had a particularly bad game, but I don't think he was particularly brilliant. So I think, for me personally, if you're talking about a man of the match today, you're talking about maybe someone like Paddy Madden or, of course, Nick Powell. I think it's between them two, because I thought both of them were very, very good in creating chances for Stockport County tonight. As I say, no one took the chances, so you can't give it to a goal scorer, because, of course, there wasn't one. So I just want to get people's thoughts on this. Do you think Macaulay Salvan-Hales deserved to get man of the match tonight? Do you think it should have maybe gone to Paddy Madden or Nick Powell? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section on that. So obviously we've spoken about who should be man of the match. I've actually got a few notes throughout the game. Of course, Will Collar, I think it said in commentary he's expected to be out to the new year, but then it also said he had a similar injury to the one that Louis Barry sustained. So I'm a little bit confused on the situation. That maybe someone has a bit more information on that than me. But what's the situation with Will Collar? When's he expected to be back? And I suppose how much of a miss is he? Because for me it feels like a big miss. Of course, Nick Powell played there today. He might have an injury of his own, but that's a whole different conversation. But for me, he doesn't have the same ability as Will Collar, in terms of, I think Will Collar's more rounded. I think he could do more in a defensive role for Stockport County. I do think Nick Powell adds quite an attacking role in the midfield, so I do think it's not a like-for-like replacement anyway. So obviously Will Collar will be a big miss for Stockport County, and hopefully he isn't out for too long. As I say, can we manage till Christmas without him? Possibly, yeah, but we've still got some big games before now, and then of course Notts County just before Christmas. They were also discussing as well with the fact that Will Collar may be out for some time, potentially that might affect Stockport County's plans in the transfer window. Of course, we're approaching December, so we're nearly a month away from the transfer window opening. It'll be interesting to see what kind of conversations start to happen about what Stockport County may do in the transfer window. Of course, we're looking at the situation with Will Collar. Some other players in midfield, of course, injured at the moment. County might dip into the transfer market to find a midfielder in January. Do you think that would be a good move for Stockport County? Do you think they can manage with the numbers they've got without spending money in January in the midfield area? And potentially, do you think Stockport County might look to try and bring in a Louis Barry type replacement? Of course, Louis Barry is expected to be out for some time. There's question marks whether or not he'll be recalled by Aston Villa in January as well. So I suppose there's an opportunity there for Stockport County to look at trying to bring in another striker. But I have to say, seeing the team sheet today and seeing the amount of attacking players we started with, I mean, you talk about Nick Powell, Paddy Madden, Cal Wotton, Tanto Alafi, all starting really attack-minded players, yet we don't score a goal. So that could be an issue for Stockport County. And it might be a reason to look into the transfer window for maybe a different type of striker in January, because as good as Paddy Madden's been for County, he does add more to County in a more creative sense now than, of course, an attacking sense. And it showed that actually a few weeks ago when we saw the goal that Cal Wotton scored, the outside the foot cross from Paddy Madden. There were signs of that again today, where he was looking to be a creative force rather than a goal-scoring force. So just going back to the first half, there were some unbelievable chances created in the first half by Stockport County. It just felt like we did everything but score. We hit the crossbar. I think, it was just wide of goal a few times. I think that maybe the one thing we didn't do is I don't think we hit the post, but we were, any other way you can think of trying to, shoot without scoring, County did it in that first half. And I have to say, fair play to Salford, because they managed to ride through that storm. Second half, we still created chances, but they kept us a lot more restricted, and they managed to obviously maintain a clean sheet and come away from Edge Park with a point, which has been difficult for teams so far this season. But it is a bit of a worry, given the fact that we lost to Newport on Saturday, and also given the fact that we've also dropped points today at Edgeley Park in Salford, who have struggled in League Two this season. Both teams we've dropped points against over the last few games, they've both struggled in League Two this season, so it's a massive problem for County. Is it a case that now we're starting to lose players due to injury, that maybe it's catching up with us, and maybe we haven't got as strong as a squad as maybe we thought we did a few weeks ago? I'm not sure. I want to get people's thoughts on that. I still think County do have it in them. I think we've just hit a bit of a rocky patch. It's not like we've lost today. Of course, it feels like a bit of a loss because we've been on such a fantastic winning streak for the last however long, but I'm pretty sure County will bounce back with a win sooner rather than later. Of course, it's disappointing to not win the game today, but we haven't lost it. And as I say, it's still a point. It still keeps us at the top of the table, and it still, I suppose, helps towards trying to create that gap. We haven't dropped points in terms of we haven't lost, but of course, it does feel like 2 points dropped. I think the good news is for us that results have gone all right for us elsewhere, in the sense that Mansfield have drawn. I think Wrexham have drawn. The only worry, I suppose, is that Barrow have come into the top four of League Two now with a win tonight as well. So potentially a new rival that we weren't expecting to be in the top four at the moment. I suppose it's the top three, but we'll add it in with top four with Barrow. But for me personally, I still think Stockport County will do well. Obviously, it's a long season. It's going to be ups and downs. We've had a fantastic start to the season in the sense with that winning streak, but now we're hitting a bit of a rocky patch. It's not the end. We haven't lost today. It's just a bit of a step down, and hopefully we can find that step in the right direction with a win in our next game. But as I say, it's a long season. We're 19, 20 games into it. We've still got a lot more games to play. We're still top of the table, and I'm confident that, as I say, we'll get back to winning ways in our next match. I also want to get people's thoughts on this injury crisis at the moment. Of course, we spoke a lot about Will Collar being injured. Nick Powell did go down in around the 70th minute, and then, of course, he went down earlier than that, and of course he was then subbed off, and Joel Cottrell came on, who I think again failed to impress. I don't think he's been particularly impressive in a Stockport County shirt this season, of course on loan to Stockport County, but it's a bit of a worry with Powell as well, because it was actually probably one of the best games he's had in the Stockport County shirt. We spoke about the fact he's not lived up to expectation. Today he got as close to it without scoring as possible, and creatively he was fantastic in front of goal. He just lacked a little bit of luck at times. And for me, it's hopefully it's not a bad injury, but it did seem like he went off with an injury, because even though he didn't go off straight away, he went off 5 or 10 minutes after going down, and he didn't look quite as comfortable as he did before that knock. And as I say, as soon as he came off, Stockport County didn't look to be as creative as they had been. So I think we saw a lot of what we'll get from Nick Powell, which is unbelievable ability. Obviously creatively he's fantastic as well. But again, we see the same kind of things in his game. We do see the fact that he looks to be strolling, around the pitch a lot. I don't think it's a case of a lack of effort though, because when he went down injured, he was very, very determined to get back on the pitch and get back playing. So I don't think it's a case of he's not bothered. I just think it's possibly part of his game. It's possibly just part of how he holds himself on the pitch, where he doesn't seem to be running a lot, but he. Today I thought he was very impressive, and as I say, for me, he's my man of the match. Hopefully it's not a bad injury, because he has, he looked impressive today, and hopefully he can get, a run of games, because I think he needs that. To be fair, as much as we criticise him to say we haven't seen the best of him, we haven't seen him perform, he also hasn't had a fair run of games at the moment. Maybe this opportunity with Will Collar being out injured and a few other players being out injured in the midfield area, providing that this injury to Nick Powell isn't serious and it's just a bit of a knock, then who knows, maybe he'll get that run of games and maybe we'll get to see the quality that he can offer to Stockport County. So I just want to get people's thoughts on the game. What did you think? Do you think Nick Powell was as good as I'm saying he was today? Do you think he deserved to be man of the match? What are your thoughts on Paddy Madden's influence on the game? Do you agree with the Southend Hales man of the match being awarded out? And what do you think of results elsewhere in League 2 tonight? Have we been lucky with some of the results? Should Stockport County got more at the game? For me personally, I don't think, I can't understand someone can say we shouldn't have, because the chances we were creating, we did everything but put it in the back of the net. And for me personally, we're a victim of of our own downfall, really, because we haven't put the ball in the back of the net. It's as simple as that. I don't think, particularly in that first half, Salford were particularly brilliant, and we should have put the ball in the back of the net and we should have punished them. Second half is slightly a different story, because as I said, they did restrict us to less chances, and they managed to hold on. So fair play to Salford. They've had a difficult start to the season, and they've got a really good point here at Edgeley Park today. But for me, it's disappointing, and for me, we've got to turn it around in the next game. But as I say, I want to get people's thoughts on the game and potentially the direction of where Stockport County are going. Are you panicked about Stockport County's drop in points over the last few games? Do you think Stockport County will turn it around? I want to get people's thoughts on that. But as I say, get your thoughts in the comments. So if you like the video, subscribe as well. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers by Christmas. If we can make that happen, that'd be absolutely fantastic. So get liking the video, get in the comments, get subscribed, and as always, thanks for watching.